got a feeling that it's gonna be a wonderful day.
What's up, my Rizzlers? Ayo, welcome to the most unhinged history class you'll ever experience, only in Ohio. Strap in, because we about to hit you with a full gritty breakdown of the American Revolution. It all started in 1756, when world's on a whole bunch of turbulence. Britain and France out here fighting like they're in an ultimate showdown like, who's gonna take the biggest W? They're like Duke Dennis versus Baby Gronk in a piss-off about who's got more global dominance. Now, this war was happening everywhere, but the real mewing was taking place in North America. Now, Britain is on that Sigma male grind set, and it's no nut November, so you know they gotta lock in. They defeated France, and Phantom taxed all their land. The British king also passed the Proclamation of 1763, which states that nobody can cross this line, otherwise the Native Americans will hit them with the Ambatukum energy. Back at our goon cave, Britain is low-key broke from the war. Like so broke that they can't even afford still water. And Phantom taxing the colonists seems to be the best way to continue that Sigma male grind set. The first Phantom tax was the Stamp Act. Colonists were forced to edge with a side of gooning for things like stamps and playing cards. The English were willing to pay the taxes, but they had to agree on the tax with a representative like Andrew Tate. With no agreement on the tax, colonists knew that they had to summon the Giga Chad energy. They out here hustling by hitting the gritty in the back, hence the phrase, "no taxation without representation," was created. The colonists rebelled by going full savage mode with that Subway Surfers gameplay. It's like when the group chat refuses to buy the new Fortnite skins because they're too expensive. They also completely rizzed up the officials, unleashing their inner skibidi. The backlash got so bad that this tax was removed. The second Phantom tax is the Quartering Act. They out there goaded with the sauce, forcing colonists to provide soldiers with temporary shelter and supplies. Soldiers were like Ice Spice and munching on people's supplies, which basically made this a tax. This also got repealed. In 1767, the Townshend Act was created. This was introduced by the famous gooner Charles Townshend, who gave a phantom tax to imports like lead, glass, and paper. All the taxes were removed except for the one on tea. The tea was bussing, but the colonists be cussin'. So on March 5th, 1770, some real sussy vibes hit Boston. So it's kind of like the Freddy Fazbear moment where the British are just lurking around, trying to keep the peace, but tensions are higher than a Kaisenat stream. Some colonists started getting in a Costco guys battle with the soldiers. It quickly escalated until one soldier's like, "Bro, we gotta do something," and pow, a shot rings out. Soon 5 colonists are dead. This is like the first shot of the revolution, almost like a gritty move, but way more serious. Colonists are all like, "Bro, why'd you do that? We just wanted to live and vibe without you breathing down our necks." Massive L for the British in the chat.
It's December 16, 1773, and the colonists are like, "Bro, we've had enough. It's time to go full Aiden Ross Sin City Monday on this." They get super sneaky and dress up as Native Americans, looking like they're ready to go full-on goon cave mode. They pull up to the harbor like they're in the middle of a GTA 6 mission, but instead of a shootout, they're straight up throwing 342 chests of tea into the water. Like, blah, just tea splashing everywhere. It's a goofy, moment for the British, but for the colonists, it's a red-pilled flex. And then the Brits are like, "Alright, that's it." These dudes are quoked up white boys busting it down sexual style in the harbor. And now we got to deal with them. Boston Tea Party is like a Smurf Cat vs Strawberry Elephant battle of history. A whole bunch of chaos with a grind set, no nut November mentality, and a touch of GTA 6 backrooms energy. The colonists just threw all the British tea in the harbor and said, "Nah, we're gonna do our own thing now."
The British are about to turn up the heat and pass a series of harsh, whack laws called the Intolerable Acts, and these laws are like the ultimate L for the colonists. These laws were like going full Andrew Tate. It was their way of flexing their dominance and trying to reassert control over the colonies. This law closed the Boston port. Basically, the British were like, "All right, you want to mess with our tea? Fine, no more shipping goods in or out of Boston." they basically tried to lock down the entire economy. They also took away colonial self-government, like how your teacher says no more chatting. And you know it's about to be silent for the rest of class. Now the colonies couldn't make their own decisions, everything had to be approved by the British government. This one was wild. It said that colonists had to house and feed British soldiers if they needed a place to crash. Imagine your house being invaded by random NPCs in a game. They just take your space, eat your snacks, and act like it's no big deal. The colonists wanted to rebel. So they formed the First Continental Congress led by George Washington. This was like the ultimate gathering of the squad, where 12 of the 13 colonies were like, all right, we need to talk about this. Time to plan our revolution and show these Brits we mean business. So the British, being all Andrew Tate about their power, sent troops to the colonies to enforce the laws and shut down the resistance. They thought they could easily control the situation, but the colonists, they were like, you're messing with the wrong grind set. They were ready for the smoke. The first major confrontations were in Lexington and Concord, where the first shots were fired that signaled the beginning of this revolution.
Britain's army was stacked with experienced soldiers, a whole lot of tea, and a bunch of ships, while the Patriots were basically like a bunch of sussy imposters trying to rizz up against the biggest empire in the world. The Loyalists, about 20% of the population, were like, yo, we're vibing with King George, while the Quakers were like, nah, we're neutral, fam, just trying to survive the whole thing. The Native Americans were split. Some helped the colonists. Others were like, yeah, British money hits different. The African Americans? They joined both sides depending on which one promised them freedom. On July 4, 1776, the Continental Congress dropped the Declaration of Independence, straight up breaking up with Britain. They were like, we're not vibing with you anymore, it's over. It had all the Enlightenment energy, all men are created equal, and they had inalienable rights. But here's the kicker: governments derive their power from the people. If the government's kinda skibby-dee, the people can rebel. Things were looking grim before this, but now it's time to flex on the British in the Battle of Saratoga. The Patriots are like, ayo, we've been grinding all this time. It's time to show these redcoats we're built different. The Brits have been trying to pull off a flank and get control of the Hudson River to cut off the colonies. But these Patriots are like, nah, we're not going out like that. It's a Smurf Cat vs Strawberry Elephant energy moment, and the Patriots are out here ready to finish this. They've been grinding since 1775, getting that Revolution XP up. And now they're about to pull off the most iconic level up in history. The British are holding it down in Yorktown, but little do they know, they're about to get ambushed by the Patriot squad, and it's going to be a whole goofy moment for them. Washington's crew isn't just there to flex. They're coming in strategic, like shadow wizards, straight out of a Money Gang tutorial. They've got French reinforcements rolling in like Freddy Fazbear, popping up from behind a corner, ready to make the British cringe. But then, General Washington and his boys show up like Kai Cenat on a 24-hour stream, ready to take over. But instead of spitting game or hitting the griddy, they pull up with the sauce and start encircling Yorktown, like they're ready to shut down a whole city.
At this point, the British troops are like, bro, I can't take this anymore. Imagine trying to play the game, but you're stuck in the back rooms, surrounded on all sides, with the Patriots just out here grinding like it's no nut November. But instead of edging, they're just busting all over the place. The British general Cornwallis surrendered and the Treaty of Paris was created in 1783, marking the start of American independence.